Hey guys, it's Maddie, and today I'll be doing a review on Omega by Jus Accardo, the sequel to Infinity, which I have right here. I have a review out for this book, and I'd recommend you see the review on the first book rather than the second book, since I'll probably include spoilers, so I don't want to spoil you. But if you are interested in this series, I do have a review of Infinity, and I'll link it on the screen so you can check that out. So Omega takes kind of a different course than Infinity did. This book follows Noah, which is Corey's brother, and Ash. And Noah has always found this girl Ash in other dimensions. And Corey, Cade, and Noah get stuck in this one dimension where he finds another Ash. Together, Ash and Noah hear of this project called Omega, and throughout this book they're trying to find out what it is. The plot was slow for me in the beginning. I think that's because we followed different characters and I wasn't used to that yet, since in the first book we followed Corey, but in this book we're following Noah and Ash. So it was a little different and hard for me to get used to, and I found it was really hard for me to get into it. However, I grew to really love these two characters. I also liked that it was dual perspective between Ash and Noah. I really loved seeing their different perspectives on what was going on. The plot did pick up for me in the second half of the book, which I mentioned, and I liked seeing Noah and Ash grow throughout this book, especially towards the very end of the book. One thing I found frustrating about the plot, though, was that it was very vague. Throughout most of this book, you have no idea what this thing Omega is, and it's mentioned so much that I was like, I just want to know what it is. Like, it would hint at things, and I'd be just kind of confused, but in a good way, though, because that added to the mystery of it. It was a really weird situation, but everything was very vague, and at first it was just kind of like annoying, but of course we find out what it is towards the end of the book. But throughout this book I was just kind of like, I am sort of confused and kind of frustrated, but at least we got some answers in this book. I just wish we could have gotten them a little sooner, but it really did add to the mystery of it. I don't feel like Corey and Cade went through a lot of development in this book, which is kind of unfortunate because Corey was the main focus in the first book, as well as Cade, but it kind of is expected that they're not going to go through a ton of development in this book because we're following different characters, so we can't really see a lot of them. However, I do feel like we saw a little bit of development on Corey's part with her getting used to the skipping through different dimensions. I really liked seeing that. I really do like her character, and I kind of wish we would have saw more of her in this book, but the main focus was on Noah and Ash, unfortunately. However, I do love that we got to see more of Noah in this book. You really saw his character grow. I think he's the funniest character in this book. Even though he's really brooding and dark, he also is very humorous and sarcastic and really sassy at the same time, which I really love. And I love seeing more of him in this book, as well as I also loved this new character, Ash. She was kind of mentioned in the first book since Noah had been seeing her in different dimensions, but she wasn't mentioned a lot. But I love that we got to see more of her in this book. I really loved her character. Her backstory is just kind of heartbreaking, especially towards the end of this book. We go so much deeper into her character, and it's like, it made me feel a lot of things. A lot of plot twists had to do with her character in particular, but I really enjoyed her. She's really strong, she's very interesting, and I hope we'll get to see more of her throughout the third book, even though I highly doubt it, because the third book is also supposed to be following different characters. So like each book in the series follows like a different character. So it's probably going to be a Corey situation where I was upset I didn't see enough Corey in this book. And then in the third book I'm going to be upset that I don't see enough Ash in that book. It's just like, it's a cycle. But overall I enjoyed her character. I enjoyed getting to know more of Noah as well. As I said in my first review for this book, this series is heavily based on romance, even though it's a sci-fi series. And me being a big lover of romance, I'm gonna like it. That's the main reason I really like this series, is that it has a really, really good romantic plot lines in it. And I think Jus Accardo does the romance thing so well. I know she's a new adult author, which I found that out not too long ago, and that really makes sense as to why her romance is done so well, because new adult is usually like heavily based on romance. So I really love the romance in this book as well, actually as much as I did in the first book with Kate and Corey. This book follows Noah and Ash and their relationship, which is awesome. Their relationship comes across a little insta-lovey at first, but that can be overlooked because Noah has been seeing different versions of Ash throughout all these different dimensions. He's had relationships with them, and Ash was in a sort of a relationship with the Noah and her dimension, but he died, which isn't a spoiler, you know that right away. So that being said, it wasn't a big deal that it was kind of insta-lovey, because in a way they sort of already knew each other, even though it was different dimensions of each other that they knew and were really in relationships with. It's kind of hard to explain. When it comes down to it, they already kind of knew each other, so it really wasn't an insta-love situation. And for the most part, their relationship goes even deeper and more developed throughout the book, so it's not like right away they're like instantly in love. So I really like that. I really love seeing them together. I think they work well together, and I just got a whole lot of feels with their relationship. I'm happy Noah ended up with someone because I really loved him in the first book, so I wanted him to like be in a relationship, and I like the one he's in. Overall, I didn't love this book as much as I loved the first book. However, I do love the direction that it took. I think it was very interesting. I loved learning about this Omega project, which I wish I could mention, but it's like a spoiler, so I don't want to discuss it too much. But it was really interesting. A lot of plot twists involved in this book, like a lot. So I was always kept on the edge of my seat. And I'm happy to find out that there will be a third book. At first I wasn't sure, but I'm really happy there is going to be one, because this book left on a cliffhanger, so I knew like there's going to be a third book. There has to be. And there is, and I actually just saw the cover for it. It just like got uploaded on Goodreads, which is awesome, and it's called Alpha. It has a cover. Looks awesome, and I'm really looking forward to reading the rest of this series. And I ended up giving this book a 4 out of 5 stars. That was my review on Omega. I hope I pushed you to continue on with this series if you weren't sure. I promise you this book is amazing. I think it's worth continuing on. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you